losing her.
Don't worry, I'll save her. Driver!
What is wrong with you?
Building burnt down.
What?
It was life or death.
He said, boy.
I've got the dog! Hey, Mr. Man, wake up! Santa! Yeah! My resignation letter, sir.
Okay. Glow Ogasim. Enjoy 25% more data when you auto-renew your plan. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow, the unrivaled big boss of data. Developing the nation's human resource.
You fam, how far now?
Sure, girl. You must hear this one.
What's that?
A synthesizer.
Eh?
No power, but you know the money we saved up to record our demo in the studio, eh?
Hey, guy, not again.
Sorry, but we needed this.
Okay, we'll find another way. Do you even know how to use that thing?
I know, no vex.
But see, next time I practice, there's something you have to learn, Sha. Fuel for your hustle by Google.
The Honorable Minister of Power, Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola San, invites the general public to the flag-off ceremony of the expansion and dualization of Abuja Kefi Lafia Makurdi Road, which is scheduled to hold on Thursday, 22nd of November 2018. Venue, Kilometer 15, Kefi Akwanga Road, Marke Kokona Local Government Area, Nasarawa State. Time, 12 p.m. prompt. Announcer, Permanent Secretary, Works and Housing Sector, Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing.
Everybody dance now. What? Louder. We are the strongest. No challenge can stop us. So Lord, and we are the brightest. No darkness can blind us. We are the strongest.
Malta Guinness is packed with B vitamins to fuel your greatness.
As the number of people where people they born they reduce, now so the money where them they get to spend they increase. Enough proof don't they to show say countries where them families they born, the number of people where they fit take care of, they stress to take care of the children no they plenty at all for the family. If families fit they enjoy this kind benefit of expenses we know they too much. You fit imagine how you go fit help boost country economy like Nigeria own. As leader where you be, the solution they your hand. And what you need to do now to take action now. All we lawmakers and everybody where they power and government must make sure say them put enough money down. We go make sure say childbirth spacing where plenty people sabi as family planning services full everywhere. Our pastors, imam, and traditional leaders suppose open mouth tell them people about the better thing where child spacing they do. This work, now our handy day, we get the full responsibility to do them. We must join hand and get it together, make our future for bright. Now Federal Ministry of Health, they bring you this message.
The National Council for Arts and Culture, Nigeria, cordially invites you to the closing ceremony of 11th International Arts and Crafts Expo, Abuja, INAC 2018, and the launching of International Cultural Diplomacy for Peace. Date, Saturday, 24th November 2018. Venue, FCT Exhibition Pavilion, beside International Conference Center, Abuja. Time, 5 p.m. Chairman of the occasion, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology. Special guest of honor, Mr. Tony Akiotu, CEO and GMD DA Communications. Royal Father of the Day, Alhaji Ismaila Muhammad, Serki Karshi, Mother of the Day, Dr. Mrs. Gloria Laraba Shuda, National President, National Council for Women Societies. Chief Host, Alhaji Lai Muhammad, Honorable Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism. Host and Announcer, Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture.
It's good to know you're out there watching News Extra tonight. As part of the continued efforts to improve Nigeria's justice delivery, an annual criminal law review conference has been introduced to give input to the judicial delivery system of the country. The maiden edition of the Criminal Law Review Conference was held at the International Conference Center, Abuja, from where Femi Okewo now reports.
By the laws of Nigeria, the defense is an integral part of any criminal trial, just as it is with the investigation and prosecution. This annual Criminal Law Review Conference is therefore an opening for the nation to know the thinking of the defense and what we need to do to get them on board in our effort to hasten our criminal trials and increase the justice in them. Various speakers at the maiden edition of the conference listed areas that needed either legislative or attitudinal reforms to bring the nation's criminal justice system to the ideal level.
The concept of having this conference is a very, very welcome development, and I congratulate the coordinator.
So where there is a conflict between the provision of AGDA in terms of investigation or any of those related matters, it takes precedence over any other statutes.
Organizers of the conference hope that all arms of the nation's justice system will show respect for each other's input.
This is criminal justice seen from the platform of all the stakeholders, because we have invited the investigators, the prosecutors, the judges, the justices of court, the senior lawyers, the junior lawyers who appear, the magistrates, and every single stakeholder. And when we rub minds and have a cross-fertilization of ideas.
A communique is expected at the end of the two-day conference, which is being attended from across the country. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army says as a formation with human face, it will continue to ensure adherence to the rule of law in line with international best practices. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, said this in a message to the opening of the Nigerian Army Law Seminar. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the event is organized by the Army in collaboration with the National Judicial Institute, NJI.
In a democratic system of government, the rule of law guides human interaction to ensure equality and fair play among individuals and organizations. The Nigerian Army, despite its combatant role in the drive to secure the nation, is not left out in the quest to strictly abide by existing human rights laws.
Although the military justice system, which is basically rooted on regimentation, has been condemned by human rights activists in the past, I am of the opinion that there have been tremendous improvements as regards the military observing rule of law in its operations in line with global best practices.
It is in an effort to develop the capacity of military lawyers involved in the profiling of criminals that the Army is organizing this seminar.
I will continue to ensure that officers and men of the armed forces of Nigeria adhere strictly to the rule of law. This has been exemplified through the various operations conducted across the country in recent times.
So far, we have been able to address petitions and other different kinds of claims against the Nigerian Army through the establishment of human rights desks, offices in Army headquarters and across all the Nigerian Army divisions.
The seminar is with the theme, the place of the law in counter-terrorism and insurgency operations in Nigeria. From the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Christian families have been urged to emulate the life of Jesus Christ in truth, mercy and patience, thereby re-emphasizing Christian values. The Catholic Archbishop of the Metropolitan See of Lagos, Most Reverend Dr. Alfred Adewale Martins, gave this advice at the opening of the 32nd annual conference of Canon Law Society of Nigeria at St. Leo's Catholic Church in Lagos. Imolewo Tokede has the details.
In today's society, values are gradually eroding, hence the many challenges facing marriages on a daily basis. The 32nd Canon Law Society of Nigeria Convention therefore seeks to re-examine the threats facing African marriages and profile possible solutions to them. The theme of this year's Canon Law Society of Nigeria's annual convention is Amoris Laetitia and Challenges to the African Family.
The family is such a very crucial topic, but it has been the center of most discussions at the universal level of the church.
The Archbishop of Lagos, Most Reverend Alfred Adewale Martins, in declaring the convention open, encouraged Christian families to seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit in order to live a crisis-free life. The keynote speaker, the Catholic Archbishop of Benin, Most Reverend Augustine Akubeze, examined the theme, making reference to the admission of Holy Communion to those in irregular marriage situations according to the canon law.
If you expect that if you will get divorced and then come from the back door and receive Holy Communion, that is not proper. Marriage is about unity, a man and a woman staying for life.
Organizers of the event say the Catholic Pope's apostolic exhortation best addresses the issue confronting marriages.
Wanted to help families understand the love of family life and the challenges that the family life today is facing and how best they could be approached. Award of fellowship, role of law and excellence were given to outstanding members of the church. The Canon Law Society of Nigeria, the oldest functioning legal society in the world, was established in Nigeria in 1985. In Lagos, Imolewo Tokede, NTA News.
The Nigerian Law Reforms Commission amendment has passed third reading at the Senate. The act is meant to address all contending issues affecting the Commission's performance. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu has the details.
The bill passed by the Senate is to, among other things, bring autonomy in conformity with the core mandate of the Law Reform Commission and global best practices.
The Repeal and Reenacted Act has 16 clauses which were examined by the Senate. They are geared towards strengthening the Commission's performance and addressing bureaucratic bottleneck. The Act, when assented to by the Executive, will now provide for a clause that will enable and make the Commission pass its reports to the National Assembly for further inputs.
The Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act Amendment Bill 2018 SB 26 as so moved. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. There is a
Other considerations by the Senate include a report by Conference Committee on the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Bill 2018, while the matters of urgent public importance includes the need for the security to expedite action in finding lasting solution to the security challenges in the Zamfara State by Senator Tijani Kaura. Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki, in his response, refers the matter to the Committee on Police Affairs. There is also a prayer before the Senate.
I make this plea on behalf of myself and those of us who live in the eastern axis of Nigeria to ensure that the railway development is spread across all parts of Nigeria. I so move.
There's just one prayer. That is to invite the Minister of Transport to brief the Committee on Land and Transport and Local and Foreign Debt on federal government plans for railway development on the eastern axis from Port Harcourt and Enugu-Maiduguri axis. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Executive communication were received at the plenary seeking for the confirmation of nominees Abike Dabiri Erewa as chairman of Nigerian Diaspora Commission and Ronke Sokefun as chairman board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC). Also from the president was a letter of decline of assent on a bill for the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Biochemical and Molecular Biology. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Well, Nigeria is a country endowed with coastal marine potentials. most of which remain untapped. It is in view of this that the House of Representatives is drawing the attention of stakeholders on the need to expand agriculture by developing and harnessing aquaculture as global trade in this sector, which is in excess of $200 billion. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that this issue featured on deliberation at Wednesday's plenary.
Representative Inombeka Bianse, in a motion which seeks the expansion of agricultural practice in Nigeria, said formulation of policies and strategies as well as development of fisheries and other marine services will further enhance government's economic resuscitation drive.
28 of the nation's 36 states can be accessed through water, an ideal situation for large-scale fisheries development of diverse marine fish species.
It's a sector in agriculture that no country can afford to relegate to the background because of its potential of generating revenue and also creating employment.
The House resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to include the science of aquaculture in agro-practices. An issue that elicited debate among lawmakers was the kidnap of 4 Reverend Sisters of the Medical Missionaries of Mary in Delta State, brought up by Representative Nana Igbokwe. It was unanimously condemned by the parliamentarians, who also urged the police to take necessary steps to rescue all persons kidnapped across the country. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has directed its Committee on Police Affairs to investigate alleged constant change of commissioners of police in Bayelsa State within a short period of time. The Bayelsa caucus at the House tabled the matter. Wednesday's plenary saw the passage of 4 bills at second reading, 2 of which were forwarded from the Senate for concurrence. One of these Senate bills seeks to enact the Nigerian Tourism Development Authority in order to enhance the sector. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In any form of allegation, the Nigerian Constitution gives every Nigerian the right to fair hearing. It is to this end that the Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Mehaja, responded to the recent allegation of financial misappropriation against the agency by the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, where he described the allegations as baseless and lacking verifiable facts. This was while speaking in Abuja, as our correspondent Ilyasu Ali Yakubu now reports.
The allegations by the House Committee was predicated mainly on the 2017 federal government special food intervention in the Northeast, where it alleged that the sum of over 5 billion naira was misappropriated. This is in addition to other allegations of financial misappropriations running into several billions of naira. In the light of these, the Director General of NEMA said it has become pertinent for the agency to set the record straight based on the mandate granted it by the federal government to deploy 5,000 metric tons of grains to the Northeast at the cost of 3,153 million naira. This, NEMA said, is contrary to the House allegation on the misappropriation of over 5 billion naira for the Northeast food distribution.
For example, there is allegation of 17 billion ecological fund. On one part, there was also, in the same report, they said 10 billion. So you could imagine the discrepancies in the same document. So there was no release of 5.8 billion naira to NEMA at any point in time. There wasn't.
The NEMA's boss said the door-to-door distribution of special food intervention in the Northeast through the use of voucher has benefited 253,254 households, while assuring Nigerians on the prudent management of resources. The DG said the records of the agency are open to all for verification.
We'll continue to execute our mandate to the best of our ability. We'll ensure that the confidence Nigerians have in NEMA during their time of need is sustained and enhanced. NEMA is and will forever remain for the distress.
He appealed for proper understanding of the House on the workings of the agency during oversight functions. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
Coming up, some business news and market situations around the country. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Hello, Niger. It's a beautiful day.
And now it's time for some amazing music.
Don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back.
Where is it?
What are you searching for?
With Glow Yakata, for every recharge, they'll give you 22 times the amount to call all the networks.
What? So if I load 100 Naira, they will give me 2,200 Naira?
Exactly! And that's not all. They are also giving up to 6 gigabytes of data every month for 6 whole months.
Wow! That's incredible!
Yes!
Are you sure? 22 times on every recharge?
Yup.
Found it! Found it! This is it! Yes!
Glow Yakata. Get up to 6 gigabytes data every month for 6 months and 2,200 Naira bonus for every 100 Naira recharge. The call all networks where talkers and browsers live. The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Hey kids, the holidays are over, but the excitement is still on. Draw what you did in your holidays, and you stand a chance to win your dream holiday. Follow 3 simple steps to enter. Step 1, draw your holiday experience. Step 2, snap a picture. Step 3, send picture, name and address to the WhatsApp number 0902-588-8888. Hurry! Go grab your Indomie packs now. Offer valid till stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Indomie noodles. Tasty nutrition. Good for you.
Psst, you in the air-conditioned office with the itchy throat. Strepsils. Girl in the spotlight with the raspy throat. Strepsils. You in the pollution. It's you. Dry throat. Strepsils. Hello in the downpour with the scratchy throat. Take Strepsils. Strepsils, with its soothing medicinal ingredients, will heal the harm done to your throat from external factors. Strepsils! Strepsils! Strepsils, for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
Munch it, what a tasty, crunchy feeling. Munch it, gotta munch it every day. Munch it, just give me the super snack. Munch it, oh, irresistible. Munch it, makes me wanna say. One munch, 2 munch, unstop munch. Munch it is here. Irresistible. 1 munch, 2 munch, unstop munch.
Try a pack of Munch It snack.
Team huddle. But we lost. Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol.
2019 elections are coming. Do not let yourselves be used by politicians. Do not allow your emotions go haywire. Do not be a tool to cause mayhem. No election matter is worth the destruction of lives and properties. Be wise. Don't be a violent Nigerian youth. Don't get involved in any act of violence. Your future is at stake. Shun violence during elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, invites all political parties to a crucial meeting. Scheduled for Thursday, the 22nd of November 2018, the meeting is aimed at creating a level playing ground for all the political parties and avail them with various platforms designed by the NTA to sell their ideas. Venue of the meeting is Post-Mortem Hall, NTA Headquarters, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, at 10 o'clock in the morning. Come, Let's synergize to make the 2019 general elections a successful one.
Thank you for joining us on News Extra, reaching you from the network service of the NTA. We'll now take you to our Lagos studio to join Abolade Salami Lagos for business news. Take it away, Abolade.
Thank you, Fatima, and welcome to Lagos. The federal government drive at reposition in the economy towards encouraging foreign direct investment will be sustained. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Uduwale, at the Business Forum in Lagos, said the government is committed to making economic policy reforms sustainable through several measures being put in place, as well as to provide support reforms to accelerate change and build capacity capable of sustaining growth.
Perhaps more importantly, for the first time, this administration has taken the initiative to prioritize soft infrastructure, which is regulatory challenges, a deepening legislative environment that enables businesses to thrive. The intervention is targeted particularly at small and medium-sized enterprises.
France is also open to investment from Nigeria and Africa in general. This commitment, of course, can be seen from the visit of President Macron, I was just mentioning, to Nigeria in July, and other countries in Africa with the aim of strengthening partnership and promoting investment.
Nigeria and German business bilateral trade relation currently at 3.5 billion euro will grow tremendously going by government's economic plan to diversify the economy. German Consul General in Nigeria, Stephen Truman, stated this while sounding the closing gong on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
We have a long history, more than 160 years, and Nigeria is Germany's biggest trading partner here in the ECOWAS, with a trade volume of 3.5 billion euro. It's a lot, but can be improved, because when you look at the figures worldwide, Germany's external trade really is still a lot of room for improvement.
We're very pleased to have him with us today and to continue to foster the relationship, the strong relationship that we have between Germany and Nigeria.
Let's now see how stocks were traded midweek on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange today.
Equities closed Wednesday's trading in the red by 0.78% to close the all-share index at 31,969.79 basis points. The volume of shares was 237 million, valued at 3.50 billion naira. The deals were 3,359, while market capitalization closed at 11.67 trillion naira. Mobile with 15 naira led the gainers chart, followed by Stanbic appreciating by 2 naira, while Presco with 4 naira 1 kobo led the losers chart, followed by Dangote Cement depreciating by 3 naira 5 kobo.
Stock Market Report concludes business news segment. News Extra continues with Fatima. Good evening.
You're welcome back. Now, production, supply and distribution of domestic LNG in Nigeria has received a boost following the inauguration of Greenville LNG, the first domestic LNG plant in Nigeria and Africa. Emmanuel Lenny has more on that.
Inaugurating the multi-million-dollar world-class gas plant, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Musa Ibrahim, noted that the investment will stimulate other sectors of the Nigerian economy.
Public-private partnership is what we need now. And with such a massive investment today, all I will urge is also to look for other people that will come and invest so that he can build this project to a higher grade.
Chairman Greenville LNG noted that the project will revolutionize the energy sector and reduce transport logistics by over 40%.
Going to be a full revolution, and especially in the transport. We will change the transport methods because we are bringing in Nigeria and in Africa the first trucks fueled on energy, which should reduce normally the price of transport and logistics.
Don't need any pipelines, so you have the truck, you have LNG, you produce from LNG, you take it directly to the end user.
Is another business booster for Nigeria, for Emoha local government.
Greenville LNG is the first domestic LNG plant in Nigeria and Africa with a capacity to produce and distribute over 2,250 metric tons of LNG per day. The virtual pipeline system, and with over 300 LNG fuel trucks, Greenville LNG will distribute gas to all parts of the country, especially non-pipeline connected areas. In Rumuji River State, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Well, farmers and traders of farm produce are having a good time in Taraba State. That's easy to say because there has been much to harvest and much produce to trade in because of the bumper harvest this season. Christy Adaji visited Teller Market in Gusau local government area and gives us an idea of the bumper harvest we're talking about.
Vast arable land in the country has complemented the federal government drive for diversification of the nation's sources of revenue, as this was leveraged with the allocation of resources to boost the agricultural sector. Available records have shown that rice production rose by 2-fold, wheat by 3-fold, while maize production grew by 60% in the last 3 years, an indication that the sector is responding to the agricultural revolution. Taraba State is no doubt represented in this agricultural renaissance, as a visit to Teller Grains Market in Gusau local government is a great testimony. According to the Chan Bag and Sack Association Teller branch, Alhaji Garba Dobeli and other farmers interviewed said the agricultural revolution of the present administration has yielded positive results, as farmers have embraced the program to the fullest, with buyers coming from Benin, Chad, Cameroon and Niger Republic.
Grace for Allah blessing us with many rivers or many lakes to do farming, irrigation farm. So, but we didn't get enough power to do it.
Really enjoy farming. This is because we have security. Our security is being granted, and we have like fertilizer. We have fertilizer easily, and most of our agrochemicals prices dropped.
Not only when you go to oil before you make money, you can go to farm and get money. Our farmers are very, very happy. Such as us, they do business, we are very, very happy.
We are eating our rice. Well, so we are telling the government that he should provide us with the machines that we can produce this rice so that everybody will enjoy the rice.
Adding that the decision has boosted their business and created jobs. From Teller, Gusau local government area, Christy Ayagwa Adaji, NTA News.
Now, do you know that rice, wheat and maize are the most important grains consumed the most globally? Now, if you know that, then it should interest you to also know that Nigeria is among the world's leading producers of rice and maize and is also making significant progress with wheat production. As Nigerian farmers are achieving these, they are asking the federal government to ban maize importation. Musa Baba Aliyu will tell us the reasons.
Maize is the second most important food crop after wheat, being consumed by people with varying food preferences and socioeconomic backgrounds across the globe. Of the 22 countries in the world where maize forms the highest percentage of calories intake in the national diet, 16 are in Africa, and Nigeria is the largest producer on the continent. Nigeria produces less than 14 million tons, while the demand is put at 17 million tons. Bello Abubakar Funtua, President Maize Farmers Association of Nigeria, says the country is projected to produce more than 20 million tons of maize this year.
And the required quantity for maize by all maize processors in Nigeria is 8 million tons.
But the association is concerned with an attempt by some agro-allied industries to import genetically modified maize known as GMO.
Therefore, this importation of maize will cause many problems and it will discourage the farmers to go back to farm again. That was the reason.
I contacted the National Biosafety Management Agency, where the Director General confirmed that there is a request to import 100 tons of GMO maize.
That we had an application from a particular company, and that's not the only company anyway, that they want to import genetically modified grains for feed processing. The permit that they have requested for is not necessarily we grant permit for importation of agricultural products. But once they are genetically modified, somebody must file an application to the agency that we want to import genetically modified organisms.
While the farmers will continue to engage relevant authorities to discourage importation, Biosafety Management, on the other hand, says it will be tough on any organization that brought in GMO without government approval. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Water is life, so we're told. If you doubt it, try to take water out of your system and see how far you can go or how long you can last. Now, one of the biggest challenges of the country is the diminishing water resources and how to resuscitate them, especially the Lake Chad. We also know that the federal government has commenced mass rehabilitation and enhancement of water bodies. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Detti says Kware Lake has been chosen for the process, which is expected to also boost fish production. Let's hear him.
The project is all about intervention, empowerment, and rehabilitation of the water bodies in Nigeria. Fish farming is one of the major businesses in Sokoto. The project will assist greatly in reducing redundancy among teeming youths in the state. People of Kore, especially fish farmers, are the direct beneficiaries of the project at no cost. Apart from being a source of income, the project will also enhance the trade and revival of the lakes through fish farming activities. The fish will be nurtured for 6 to 12 months to ensure maturity. It will be ready for domestic consumption and commercial purposes. Sokoto State government is to rehabilitate the cold store, resuscitate over 60 funds to improve fish farming in the state. Modalities have been drawn and discussed with the farmers for sustainability of the program.
Most of the fishermen, especially local ones, do not reproduce these fish. All they do is to catch them, and there is depletion of most of these fishes that we have in the country. So the intervention is very important, and this collaboration will help in boosting fish production in the state.
Funds realized by fish farmers are expected to be used in educating their children and empowerment of their families. From Kore Lake, I'm Sheikh Muhammad Detti, reporting for News Extra.
Many thanks there. Now, issues relating to networking, packaging, branding, and cultural diplomacy in the arts and crafts industry dominated discussions at the investment forum of the 11th edition of the International Arts and Crafts Expo in Abuja. Oyinneya Kalu Oka was there and now reports.
Once you meet a people's culture as represented by their artifacts and arts and crafts, you have actually met something.
A drama piece showcasing arts and crafts as an globally, the industry generates more than $44 billion annually, creating hundreds of jobs. For Chinwe Ezenwa, who is one of the success stories of the prospect in the arts and craft world, Nigeria must be ready to embrace this sector.
You must get ready because the fourth industrialization is coming. There are prospects.
Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Roshanwe, arts and culture is the hidden treasure that must be explored.
I've developed 3 models. We want to build one
cultural center in every state of the federation.
Director News NTA Aliu Bababaro and other discussants noted that culture is fundamental to achieving the diversification drive of the government.
The only thing that can be done is our total commitment in order to advance our cultural heritage, our arts and crafts, and give the push and permeate it all across Nigeria in order to promote culture and African civilization.
The need for constant training, value presentation, and maximizing the use of the new media were identified as key towards repackaging Nigeria's arts and crafts industry. Oyinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
Infrastructure development in Nasarawa State, plus water provision in Osun State. That's the outlook when we return after the break.
What's up?
His friends didn't come.
Hey, let's practice.
But you're going out.
Don't worry about me.
Nothing satisfies a mother more than seeing a child grow up. But I know as he sweats, he'll face the risk of germs which can cause skin irritation.
That's why you need the new best ever Dettol Cool. Its new advanced formulation with extra menthol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs and gives your family icy cool freshness.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
This festive season, there's no place like home. Get a GoTV decoder and GoTenna and 1 month of GoTV Max subscription for only 6,900 Naira. GoTV. Live it, love it.
In recent times, too many votes have been declared void, null, invalid, or spoiled. This is not good for democracy. It is time to make every vote count. Here are a few tips on how to vote. First, when about to vote, identify the political party or candidate you want to vote for. You should not vote for two parties or candidates. It has to be just one thumbprint in the right place on your ballot paper. Make sure you thumbprint on only one space. Your thumbprint must be within the space, not outside like this. Do not allow any spill of ink into another space. Never leave your ballot paper empty. Vote for one party or candidate. Do not write on your ballot paper, just thumbprint. Do not squeeze your ballot paper once you finish thumbprinting. Place your ballot paper in the box. Enough of void votes. It's time to make your vote count. Vote the right way. This message is from the National Orientation Agency and supported by Usiwa.
You're welcome back. It's good to know you're still out there watching. Without any fear of contradiction, the federal government scores very high in the area of infrastructure development. It is only natural that governors should key into the development and get a lot more accomplished in their states. This is exactly what Governor Tanko Almakura seems to have done in Nasarawa State. Joshua Ojito has been following up on the project completed by the state government and the impact it has on the people.
To underscore the importance attached by the Nasarawa State government on the Lafia substation, Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura is regular on monitoring progress of work. Like in previous visit, the governor is excited about the news that a factory acceptance test is soon to take place for the heavy-duty transformers to arrive at the station.
We have got the robust infrastructure of 330, which is be stepped down into 132, and then to be distributed to all our appliances with 33. So there's nothing we need anymore in power generation, in power supply, that this cannot meet. I feel very, very proud, and I'm looking up to the day when we will come to commission this, so that the people of Nassau State will show their appreciation to Mr. President for granting Nassau State this opportunity to be one of the states that will benefit from the most robust, sufficient and adequate power supply that will go beyond the demands or needs of the state.
The National Integrated Power Project and Transmission Company of Nigeria are building the station. Similarly, with 7 months remaining, contractor has given the assurance of finishing work on the Lafia Airport project, even though a lot is pending. The project is designed to drive cargo handling and to promote agricultural exports.
If there will be a delay, it will not be the government delay. It will be on our side. We can guarantee you before 29th of May, Excellency will use the airport.
Towards the promotion of sport, the second phase of remodeling Lafia Stadium and construction of additional wards for the Dalhatu Arab Specialist Hospital have been awarded, and completion is within the next few months. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And still talking infrastructure development, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved and directed the release of the sum of $41.94 million for the construction of distribution network and sanitation infrastructure, in addition to the ongoing Ilaisha water supply project in Osun State. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu announced this during the flag-off ceremony of the federal government-supported Ilaisha water project. Anthony Forson was there and now reports.
The Ilaisha water project, which was approved during the government of Chief Bola Ige in the old Oyo State, have suffered neglect by past governments before the coming of Governor Rauf Aregbesola. With lean resources in the state, the governor sought the intervention of the federal government in the completion of the project, which has been financed through a loan from Islamic Development Bank. President Muhammadu Buhari has given the accent for the release of $41.9 million needed for the completion of the project.
I wish to assure you that we are seriously working with the state government to establish the necessary project implementation framework that will ensure qualitative and timely completion of this project.
The project, when completed, will serve 6 local government areas and will produce 30 million gallons of water per day.
And already we are out here for us to research water supply distribution network in Asia. We are trying to spread around Buhari, and we are showing that we will deliver and we will come.
The governor had earlier commissioned various projects to mark the end of his administration by November 27. Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
That was actually Femi Afariogun's report, not Anthony Forson, as earlier reported. Now, the power of television as a medium of communication is not in dispute. Of course, it is the next thing to real life. It is therefore only befitting that we celebrate the television day. That you're watching me now on News Extra means you're part of the celebration. And so in this next report, Najatu Tijani features television production from behind the scenes at the Nigerian Television Authority.
Because French weapons now are reaching.
Since its invention in the early 1900s, television has served as a medium for entertainment, communication, and household culture. This culture cuts across all media organizations, including the Nigerian Television Authority. The station has evolved over the decades.
Who was the tool of the Office of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission?
Wale Koka is the Executive Director Program of the NTA, with more than 30 years in the television industry. He says there is more to television than meets the eye.
The kind of work that goes on behind the scene is very fundamental. Now television is, it's on demand, it's on the go.
This evolution has cultural implications, as today television is digital and mobile. News producers also agree that this has had an influence on culture and service delivery.
We started from the analog stage and now we have gone digital.
You can now do Skype. You can now send your story when you travel out easily. You edit and send to via email and all that.
All these people behind me are working to ensure a hitch-free production. The next time you watch television, take a moment to spare a thought for all the work that goes on behind the scenes. Naja Atutuchani, reporting for News Extra.
Many thanks, Naja. Now, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you the story of a 23-year-old who is bent on taking healthcare to remote areas.
This festive season, there's no place like home. Get a GoTV decoder and GoTenna and 1 month of GoTV Max subscription for only 6,900 Naira. GoTV. Live it, love it.
My name is Lukman Animasham. I'm a former worker of Nigeria Airways Limited. In 2004, former President Obasanjo liquidated the airline, and since then we've been waiting for benefits. But in 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari came in, he promised to pay us, and today I'm happy that 5,996 members of ex-workers of Nigeria Airways are receiving their money. I'm also a beneficiary. The good thing about what President Buhari did is that he promised that the over 800 people that died in the process of waiting for this money, their next of kin will be paid. And as I'm talking to you, they have been paid.
Welcome back. Concerns on growth rate of preventable diseases in Nigeria have heightened in the health sector. Now, the good news, however, is that partners and individuals are complementing government's efforts in curtailing this growth rate. One of such individual efforts is the Omotayo Kidney Foundation, driven by a 23-year-old nursing official who is determined to reach communities in difficult terrain to sensitize people on healthy living. This year, Basi Itaikwan tells us the foundation was in Tudunwada community in Lugbe, FCT, on diabetes prevention campaign and free treatment.
Diabetes is a non-communicable disease often described by experts as a silent killer. The most worrisome, the WHO representatives say, is that half of the people living with the disease are unaware.
But there is a hope. Recently, world leaders agreed to take responsibility themselves for their country's efforts to prevent and treat non-communicable diseases.
including diabetes.
Further reduce the prevalence in Nigeria, Umota Your Kidney Foundation is in Tudunwada community to further enlighten and counsel the people on healthy living. Members of the community were educated on signs, symptoms, and risk factors to help in early detection.
We are into this outreach of foundations because of the high incidence rate of people with chronic kidney disease, which the most leading causes remains hypertension and diabetes. Mostly people are not knowledgeable about it.
Extending this kind of services to the less privileged, you will touch lives and save lives.
The program featured health talks, counseling, vital checks, treatment, and referrals.
Don't live a lifestyle that will predispose us to having diabetes. Eating a balanced diet.
Medical experts advise has an important role to play in the prevention of diabetes, in line with this year's theme, the family and diabetes. Basi Taikban, NTA News.
Well, we're almost there, but not before we bring you sports news and the weather prospect for tomorrow.
Madam. Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem. You are welcome, sir.
As usual, yeah?
Welcome. You take that one.
Yeah.
Take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
No other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry?
That's
the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Mobu to come to chocolate rice made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made.
Correct.
And how they are cook it.
Correct.
Homegrown rice are good for your health. It boosts our economy and give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Thank you for rejoining us. And we now take sports with